Cent page, and I go over there and I see this picture of Claressa Shields and Bud, Maserati Bud. Baby, I remember posting this, and she threatened to send me a cease and desist note to take me to court, because she said it's a lie. Why would I put that out there that she messed with Maserati Bud? So she must have caught some backlash from Papoose when I posted. So I'm all in the comments leaving my comment and being nosy, and 50 Cent right, no, you just got off the phone with him, don't play with me. Yes, I posted this pic of them the beginning of February 2025, honey. She was about to lose her mind when she seen this pic and video on my page. Remy don't know that. Remy think they together, but Papoose ain't with no damn Claressa. Claressa Shields is with Maserati Bud from out of Miami-Dade County that currently live in the A.
So when you go to that interview?
She is with 50 Cent homeboy.
Y'all, this just went from messy to downright explosive, and nobody saw it spiraling this far, this fast. What started as a few slick shots and online jabs has now turned into a full-blown war, and at the center of it all, Claressa Shields, 50 Cent, and a situation that's about to shake everything people thought they knew. Because now, we're not just talking about rumors anymore. We're talking about leaked messages, private conversations dragged into the spotlight, and a lawsuit that could change the entire narrative overnight. And the craziest part? The internet isn't even debating if something happened. They're trying to piece together just how deep this really goes. 50 Cent didn't just clap back, he calculated every move. Reposting, tagging, applying pressure while letting the chaos build on its own. Meanwhile, Claressa is fighting to clear her name, calling everything a lie, warning blogs, and preparing legal action like this has crossed a line that can't be uncrossed. But then, those screenshots hit. Suddenly, it's not just denial versus accusation anymore, it's perception versus reality. And online, perception is winning. And now, the biggest twist in all of this. Papoose. Silent at first. Watching. Processing. But when someone like that finally speaks, it doesn't just add to the drama, it detonates it. Because this isn't just about leaks anymore. This is about reputations, relationships, and receipts that may not disappear no matter how fast they're deleted. And, trust me, what's coming next might be the part nobody can come back from.
Smelt my cat, boy. I never even sneezed on this.
Claressa's out here trying to clear her name. Like, she posting too. And she said this whole thing started around New Year's when 50 disrespected her and Papoose for no reason.
I never even sneezed on this. And he up here talking about some, I ain't want to have to expose you, Claressa. What? How do you recognize a weirdo?
Y'all, the deeper you go into the story, the darker it gets. Because what looked like a simple online feud, it wasn't random. It wasn't harmless. And it definitely wasn't over nothing. It started subtle. A few slick comments. A little shade thrown here and there. The kind of tension people usually scroll past without thinking twice. But behind the scenes, something else was building, something way more calculated, way more personal. At the center of it all was Claressa Shields. Confident, vocal, and never the type to back down. But then 50 Cent entered the picture, and everything shifted. At first, it looked like trolling. Classic internet chaos. Memes flying. Insults hitting. The kind of back and forth that keeps timelines entertained. But if you were paying attention closely, you could see it, 50 wasn't just joking. He was setting something up. And then, he dropped it. Not a joke. Not a vague comment. An accusation. Suddenly, Claressa's name was being tied to a situation nobody saw coming. A name started circulating, Maserati Bud. And, just like that, the tone changed. This wasn't entertainment anymore. This was personal. Because once something like that hits the internet, it doesn't just stay there, it spreads. Fast. Claressa wasted no time responding. She came out strong, shutting everything down. Calling it lies. Saying her name was being dragged through the mud for no reason. And you could hear it in her voice. This wasn't just frustration. This was anger. Real anger.
Somebody you don't know coming around you 24/7 doing this. Yeah, you all in the back. He got his phone, flip the camera. Oh yeah, look who I'm with. Yeah, look where I'm at. This man been doing that since the first day I met him. And I feel like I was targeted. This dude came up to me. I got the footage. This dude came up to me.
She made one thing clear. There was no relationship, no secret involvement, nothing behind the scenes. And more importantly, she warned that legal action was on the table. That should have been the moment things slowed down. But instead, it escalated. Because 50 Cent didn't retreat. He didn't even hesitate. He pivoted. Instead of pushing the claim directly, he played it smarter. He reposted content, clips, posts, other voices already making the same allegations. On the surface, it looked like he was just amplifying what was already out there. But in reality, it shifted the entire narrative. Now it wasn't just him versus Claressa. It was the internet versus Claressa. And that's a completely different battle. Because once the internet locks in on a story, facts almost stop mattering. It becomes about perception. about what looks real, what feels real, and what people are willing to believe. And right when things couldn't get more intense, they did. Screenshots started circulating. Private messages, conversations, timings, locations. Small details, but enough to raise big questions. Enough to make people pause and say, wait, what is this? No one knew the full context. No one could confirm the full story. But that didn't matter anymore. Because once something is seen, it can't be unseen. And the timing? That's what made it worse. These weren't old rumors being recycled. These were fresh, active, dropped at the peak of the tension. And even more shocking, some of it was posted and then deleted. But by then, it was too late. The internet had already grabbed it, saved it, shared it, analyzed it. And now, Claressa wasn't just fighting accusations. She was fighting evidence, real or not, that people had already decided meant something. And hovering over all of this was one name that hadn't fully spoken yet. Papoose. Because while everything else was loud, arguments, posts, leaks, he was quiet. Watching. Processing. And in situations like this, silence doesn't calm things down. It builds pressure. Because when that silence finally breaks, it doesn't come out soft. It comes out explosive. And the question now isn't just who's telling the truth. It's who's about to lose everything when the truth finally comes out.
Me, up at 50 Cent shit up in Shreveport, where 50 blockhead ass flew me in at, paid for my room, called me on stage, performed his songs, shouting me out, holding my belt, all type of shit.
And this is where everything takes a turn that nobody can control anymore. Because once receipts enter the chat, the narrative stops being just talk. It starts feeling real. By now, the internet wasn't just watching, it was investigating. Every post, every caption, every movement was being picked apart in real time. People weren't asking if something happened, they were trying to figure out when it happened, how it happened, and who knew about it before it all exploded. And right in the middle of that storm, those messages. Not rumors. Not opinions. Messages. Short, direct, casual at first glance. But when you read between the lines, that's where things got uncomfortable. Questions about timing, mentions of food being ready, asking for addresses, even what looked like location sharing. On their own, maybe they meant nothing. But together, they painted a picture the internet couldn't ignore. And the most dangerous part? They felt private, like something that was never supposed to be seen. Which made the situation 10 times worse, because now it wasn't just about what was said publicly, it was about what might have been happening behind closed doors. 50 Cent knew exactly what he was doing. He didn't need to explain anything. He didn't need to confirm anything. All he had to do was drop just enough, and let the internet connect the dots. And that's exactly what happened. The posts went up, and then suddenly, they were gone. Deleted. But not before people screenshotted everything. And once that happened, control was officially lost. Because deletion doesn't erase anything anymore, it just makes people look harder. Now the conversation had shifted completely. It wasn't is 50 trolling? It became, why would he post that if there was nothing there? And that question alone started doing more damage than any accusation ever could.
This is where I met this weirdo at. So now that I've met this weirdo here, the first picture we ever take, I'm in all white. It's at the all white party that Blockhead threw. So he done threw this party. Let me see, where this shit at? Shit to me. September, October. Let me go back here. August. This is the picture of me in the bozo right here. Right? This is bozo, right?
Meanwhile, Claressa was still standing firm. She didn't fold. She didn't go quiet. She pushed back harder. She made it clear again that none of it was true. That her name was being attached to something she had no part in. And more importantly, she started drawing a line. A legal line. Because now, this wasn't just messy, it was potentially damaging. Reputation. Career. Image. Everything was on the line. And she wasn't just calling out 50 Cent anymore. She was warning everyone. Blogs. Pages. Anyone reposting the story. If you keep spreading this, you might be part of the case. That changed the energy instantly. Because now, people weren't just watching drama, they were watching a situation that could turn into a courtroom battle. But even with that warning, the internet didn't slow down. If anything, it sped up. Because controversy feeds attention. And attention feeds speculation. And speculation? That's where things spiral out of control. Now people were going deeper. Revisiting old clips. Looking at past interactions.
He made a caption on his page. And the damn caption said, yeah, I'ma slide about this one right here. And it had a song talking about some, yeah, you know, I slide for you. You know, I ride for you. Whatever the f. And I said, Okay, that's weird. It say, he wrote and say, I appreciate the pic. Coach and Manu are family. I stay in Atlanta. Like I said, I'm spinning about you. I didn't even respond to him because I don't even know who you are. What do you mean you're going to spin about me? I don't know you. Don't spin.
Breaking down body language, captions, timelines, anything that could support either side of the story. And the more they searched, the more divided it got. Some were convinced this was a calculated smear campaign, that 50 Cent was using his platform to push a narrative that would stick, whether it was true or not. Others believed the opposite, that he wouldn't risk posting something like this without having something real behind it. And stuck in the middle of all of that noise was Papoose. Still quiet, still watching. But now, his name wasn't just attached to the situation, it was being pulled into it. Because people started asking the question nobody wanted to ask out loud. If there's even a chance this is real, what does that mean for him? And that question? That's what made everything heavier. Because this wasn't just internet drama anymore. This was personal. And when personal situations go public like this, they don't just affect one person. They affect everyone connected. Relationships get tested. Trust gets questioned. And silence? It stops being neutral. It starts looking like something else. Now, all eyes are on what happens next. Does Claressa take this all the way to court? Does 50 Cent double down even further? And most importantly, what happens when Papoose finally decides to speak? Because if there's one thing everyone knows by now, it's that this story isn't slowing down. It's building. And whatever comes next, it's not going to be quiet. It's going to be the moment everything either falls apart or finally gets exposed. And just when it felt like this situation had already reached its peak, it didn't. It evolved into something even more unpredictable, something that doesn't just live online, but follows people into real life. Because now, it's not just about what was posted. It's about what people believe. And belief is way more dangerous than facts. At this point, the lines are completely blurred. Truth, lies, strategy, manipulation, it's all mixed together in a way that makes it almost impossible to separate what's real from what's being pushed. And that's exactly where situations like this become irreversible. Because once public perception locks in, it rarely lets go. For Claressa, this is no longer just about defending her name. It's about surviving a narrative that's already taken on a life of its own. Every denial she makes is being questioned. Every explanation is being dissected. And every move she takes is being watched like evidence in a trial that hasn't even started yet. And the pressure? It's building. Because the louder she speaks, the more people start asking, why does she have to defend this so hard? And that question alone can twist everything. But on the other side, 50 Cent isn't slowing down either. If anything, he's gotten quieter, more calculated. And that silence? It doesn't mean he's done. It means he's watching the reaction. Because at this level, you don't need to post constantly to stay in control. You just need to drop the right thing at the right time and let everyone else do the work for you. And that's exactly what's happening. Pages are reposting. Fans are debating. Comment sections are turning into battlegrounds. And with every new discussion, the story spreads further, reaching people who didn't even know about it before. That's how narratives grow. Not through proof, but through repetition. And now, the situation has reached a point where even if everything stopped today, the damage wouldn't. Because once your name gets attached to something like this, it lingers. It follows you. It becomes part of your story whether you want it to or not. And then there's the part nobody can ignore anymore. Papoose. Because while everyone else has been loud, strategic, defensive, he's remained in the background. No public statements. No emotional reactions. No clear side taken. But that silence? It's starting to feel heavy. Because in situations like this, silence isn't empty. It's loaded. It raises questions. It creates tension. And most importantly, it makes people wonder what's happening behind the scenes that we're not seeing. Is he waiting for the right moment? Is he trying to handle things privately? Or is he processing something that hasn't fully hit the surface yet? No one knows. But everyone's watching. Because the moment he speaks, if he speaks, it changes everything. It could shift the narrative, confirm suspicions, or completely flip the story in a way nobody expected. And that's what makes this moment so dangerous. Because right now, the situation is balanced on uncertainty. And uncertainty? That's where the biggest explosions come from. Meanwhile, the legal side is still looming in the background like a ticking clock. If Claressa moves forward with a lawsuit, this stops being internet drama instantly. It becomes documented, examined, pulled apart in a space where narratives don't matter, only evidence does. And if that happens, everything we think we know could either be confirmed or completely destroyed. But until then, the internet remains the judge, jury, and executioner, deciding what feels true, deciding who looks guilty, deciding who wins and who doesn't. And the scariest part? They don't need proof to make that decision. They just need something that looks convincing enough. So now we're left in this moment where nothing is fully confirmed, but nothing feels random either. Where every move matters. Every post matters. Every second of silence matters. Because one wrong step from anyone involved. And this entire situation could spiral into something that nobody can control anymore. Not Claressa. Not 50. Not even Papoose. And if that happens, this won't just be another viral story people forget in a week. This will be one of those moments people look back on and say, that's when everything changed. And just like that, this isn't something you can scroll past anymore. This is the moment where everything either explodes or gets buried in a way that raises even more questions. Because right now, nobody's backing down, nobody's clarifying, and nobody's in control of where the story goes next. The pressure is peaking. The narratives are clashing. And the internet? It's already chosen sides without waiting for the full truth. That's what makes this dangerous, because once people believe something, it doesn't matter what comes out later. The damage is already done. Now all eyes are locked on what happens next. Does Claressa actually take this to court and force everything into the light? Does 50 Cent drop something even bigger and push this past the point of no return? Or does Papoose finally step in and say something that changes the entire direction of this story in seconds? Because make no mistake, silence won't hold much longer. And when it breaks, it won't be controlled, it won't be clean, and it definitely won't be quiet. This is bigger than leaks now. Bigger than accusations. This is about reputations hanging by a thread while the entire world watches in real time, waiting for someone to slip, someone to speak, or something undeniable to surface. So don't look away now. Because if even half of this turns out to be real, what comes next won't just shock the internet. It will completely rewrite everything people thought they knew.